So Mark Stevens, who missed just 1 week with a dislocated kneecap, starts the game in the ruck on Everett, and Everett wins it, but Stevens, with a great second effort, makes sure it's not going anywhere.
We don't think he would have been fired up for that first bounce, Stevens. It's a remarkable comeback from that injury, and yeah, very athletic young man to be able to take the task on, and the big wide open spaces of Waverley could well suit Mark Stevens in that role.
So here's another chance for Peter Everett, but this time no restriction. Players all round him. Everett wins it easily. Tries to find Andrew Thompson. And Stevens wins the first possession of the game. Well done, son. Out to the wing to the skipper, Mark Bickley. He dodges, weaves. The hand pass blocked by Lenny Hayes. It goes to Smart. Inside the 50. Cleared by Wakeland. The Wakeland twins in operation today. Former Adelaide boys, of course. Bassett in front of Hall, but can't take the mark. It comes to James. Ormond Allen. Good tackle by big bustling Barry Hall, and he wins the free kick.
Yeah, just too slow to react. Good defensive pressure by Hall.
Half distance to Jones. A half volley. He's 45 metres out. McLaren didn't give it enough, and Rashudo's back on the line.
So Rashudo back in the square with the job on Robert Harvey in the forward line at the start of the match. Stevens in the ruck, takes the mark on the outer side.
And Hudgston's got the job on Darren Jarman at fullback for St Kilda.
Mark Stevens close to home, a Gippsland boy, again finds Bickley in the centre of the ground. Towards half forward go the Crows, and they're the Wakelands. This one's Shane in the long sleeves. Forward handball to Lowe, gets there the second time. They still haven't quite cleared the area. Ziller under pressure from Costa, tackling strong and hard to open the game. Francis trying to barge his way out. Lowe lifts the ball out, handballs. Burke concedes ground, found a little bit of space now with Peckett. On out to Jones. He has time and room. Forward pockets free. Goes towards Everett. Dragged down by Ormond Allen. No doubt about it. Just too short, Ormond Allen, in the contest, and gives away the free kick.
Yeah, and Terry, sorry, Curls, down to you, mate.
Thank you, Mike. This guy is going to be one hell of a handful today for the Crows. And I think you called it right, Drew. Stevens, to have any effect on the game, will have to rely greatly on his second effort.
So big Peter Everett, 3 goals in the last quarter last week to get St Kilda home against Melbourne. Finished with 5-3. His best effort for the season. Doesn't look all that happy with this one. So the first score on the board this afternoon to the Saints, the single behind.
Yeah, and also across the half-forward line for Adelaide. Young's been a penetrating player. Off half-back for St Kilda. Goodwin's gone to that part of the ground basically to play a negating role on Young.
Well, Mark Stevens is coming off with blood coming from his forehead, so this is exactly what the Crows don't need. And I suppose they'll have to bring Herbert off the bench.
Well, you would think so. Yes, here he comes. Actually, while we're there on the bench, there was Herbert, of course, Stingland, Johnson and Gallagher, and for St Kilda, Ryan, Elliott, Campbell, Gowers.
So Mark Stevens goes to the bench. Doesn't look like much of a cut, so he should be back soon. And Lucas Herbert, who 2 weeks ago came over here and might as well have come in his street clothes because he didn't even get a run, is now going to have to play on an all-Australian ruckman in Peter Everett. Jamieson to kick in for the Crows. The breeze is going right to left, so the Crows have it in the first quarter. He's taking a long time. The umpire tells him to hurry up. Burton still back in the back pocket. What a first season for Brett Burton. He's taken about 8 candidates for the Cadbury's Mark of the Year, and he's been fantastic at ground level as well. Stewie Lowe works his way to the front but can't mark. Mitchell to Everett. Everett playing it like a rover. Oops, bit of a slip. McLaren back to Mitchell. 70 metres from goal. Hall, might have been a bit of a push there, but no whistle. Hall flips the ball back to Hayes. He's swamped by Smart. McLeod has it for the Crows. Great football. It was packed back there in defence, but they've broken well. Bickley to half forward. Mcgregor, good mark.
Yeah, terrific kick there by Bickley, just to the advantage of Mcgregor. He didn't have to break stride. He's been picked up by Shane Wakeland at centre-half back. His brother Darryl's got the job on Brian Benke.
Just an 18-year-old. Didn't think he could make the distance. Smart gets a bit of his own medicine.
Should be 52.
And he'll take him right to the goal line. Well, fancy Smart being bumped like that by a little bloke, Mitchell.
In the end, there's no need for that, Drew. That's just undisciplined act. Smart had the ball in his possession. Without doubt, the umpires made the right decision. Smart should kick the first goal of this contest. And as we intimated, he started across centre wing. Today, you'll see him push forward across the half-forward line and hopefully become a multiple goal kicker from that part of the ground for the Adelaide Crows.
First goal of the game to Nigel Smart. Well, there is a thing about making a bloke earn a kick. Is it how you make him earn it? That was dead set illegal, wasn't it?
Yeah, there's no doubt it was. There was just no need for that by Gavin Mitchell. Here he is. He's clearly won possession of the ball, and then the contact was made. Within today's rules, you just can't allow to do that, Terry.
So Nigel Smart, who has been dishing it out himself the last couple of weeks, receives one here now, takes advantage of the 50-metre penalty to get his first goal. And as Neil Curley indicated prior to the game, Nigel Smart been very good on the wing the last couple of weeks for the Crows, but this week has the instruction of trying to get goals. He gets the Crows first in this match. The Crows come again from half-back, out to the path of Smart again. Feeling at home on the wing, holds the ball a long time, too long in fact, and he's been pinged by the umpire.
Yeah, good persistence by his opponent in Thompson, and also Tony Francis, the one who never gave up on the chase. That's the attitude that Timmy Watson would want to see from his players.
So from half-back, Nathan Burke playing more in defence this year. The kick falls short towards his partner in Harvey. Here's Harvey's first touch of the day, and it's a gem. The Rolls Royce is back out of the garage. Jones takes off, slips himself. Back to Harvey again. Poise, class, delivers into the forward pocket, floats on him beautifully. Right in onto the chest there. Joey McLaren in the pocket, takes the mark.
Well, they've just alternated these two players. McLaren started up the ground because Adelaide kicked the first goal of the match. McLaren just started from the goal square. Hall and Lowe were both up the ground, just trying to isolate Jamison, who's McLaren's direct opponent. McLaren is very quick on the lead.
And boys, Harvey is moving very smoothly.
Here's McLaren. Doesn't quite make it. One of 5 St Kilda players to play every game this year, Joey McLaren, after playing 11, 2 and 11 the last 3 years. But there's the man everyone's come to see, particularly Saints fans, Robbie Harvey. He's only played 1 out of the last 5 games. Bounces for Hart, comes back the second time, wheels around, chips in towards centre half back, and there's Burton courageously standing his ground.
Another couple of interesting matchups in midfield. Burton has got the job on Thompson. He'll try to run off him at every opportunity. Also, Hayes is with Bickley, and also Francis picking up the dangerous Andrew McLeod.
Comes back to a big pack in front. Young steers the ball well for Andrew Thompson, who takes the mark in front of Burton. Young follows up from defence to full forward. Barry Hall on the bounce. Running out of room. Good smother by Bassett.
Yeah, terrific defensive tactic by Bassett. You can just sort of tell as soon as Hall won possession of the ball, he was going to try to screw the ball around his body at goal. But terrific defensive stuff there by...
Here's Robert Harvey having a shot. He's come into this game under a cloud with his calf injury. Forced him to miss 4 of the last 5 weeks. Lowe takes clean possession. Back to McLaren on the 50. Had to let it bounce.
Jones
beats the tackle.
Jones is on.
Aussie. And Aussie Jones only 20 metres out from goal. And even though he's kicking into and across the breeze, it should be the Saints' first goal.
And Mick, the impressive part there, what created the opportunity for McLaren to come through was Harvey. That Harvey ran to the contest, and the Crows automatically go to try and shut down Harvey, and all of a sudden the gap opened for McLaren to come through.
Aussie Jones, it's away on the breeze to the left, another behind. So the Saints have had most of the play, but are squandering their chances.
Yeah, they certainly controlled the footy, centre forward in this opening part of the first quarter. Already it's inside 50, St Kilda 5 to Adelaide 1. Terrific efficiency from Adelaide's point of view. They've kicked 1 goal from that entry. St Kilda certainly have to kick goals when they get the opportunity.
Jamison brings it out to this near side.
Good play.
Orman Allen off the ground, gets some 40 metres down the track. Shane Wakeland in front. Mcgregor comes with a tackle, but the 2 Wakeland boys work together. They're smothered. Free kick against them.
Yeah, in the tackle, it was too high over Benke. Benke just tried to get behind the play on that occasion. He's still got to come and present himself and make himself a target, because McGregor across half forward's only a young player, and you can't expect him to do it all by himself.
So Brian Benke, who was so very good against Kudafidis a couple of weeks back, towards half forward. There he is. Burton, off he goes into the square. Whack it in. First goal They're away.
Yeah, terrific stuff there by Burton. A midfielder floating forward and backing his abilities to jump in the contest. Have a look at him here to the right of screen. There he is, eyes only for the footy. Backed himself to run off his opponent in Thompson. He kicks his first, Adelaide second in this, the first quarter. Terrific start by Burton. What a terrific, exciting talent this young player is.
Well, if their efficiency was good once inside 50 for a goal, now they've gone in twice for 2 goals. 100% by the Crows. Saints have had most of the play, but trail. Lowe gets it down. Francis thrown to the ground. Saints fans want a free kick. Nothing doing, it'll be balled up.
Drew, even at this early stage of the game, there's something about the Crows that I like, that they're all running. They look very enthusiastic and very confident.
It's interesting to have a look at their forward line structure too, Curls. 5 players are around that 50-metre arc, all sort of congested, obviously trying to run to space, and they're allowing the hole behind with Jarman and Hutchison one-on-one. That's
correct. See, Mcgregor's the only one with any great deal of height, so, you know, they're ground players, Ella boys.
St Kilda have gone inside 5 times for just 3 behinds. Crows have gone inside twice for 2 goals. Stevens is back on the ground after being patched up. He wins in ruck to McLeod.
Oh, good hands.
Fantastic by Rasciuto to Costa. He clears the centre square. 55 out, Breeze behind, right to the line. And punched through. Oh, wasn't punched through for a behind. Still in the field of play. Burke might have wished it gone through.
Oh, good hands, Jarman.
And brilliantly kept in by Vardy. How about that? And Goodwin takes the mark.
Well, very rarely do you see Nathan Burke fumble, but that was just due to the defensive pressure. Here's Burke. He had 1.5 metres spare on Jarman, but very rarely will you see Nathan Burke take his eyes off the footy at the critical time and fumble the ball. Vardy could have had a shot, but saw Goodwin. Good play.
3 goals straight to the Crows. Well, they should have rushed it behind.
Yeah, no doubt. Hudson tried to do the right thing. I think he just hit the ball a little bit too early and kept the ball back in play. But you go back to centre field, 2 terrific players, initiators from Adelaide's point of view. One, McLeod gave it to Rasciuto, and Rasciuto's vision to find the run of Costa was outstanding football. Those 2 players in the congestion set the play up to give Goodwin the opportunity to kick the Adelaide Crows' 3rd goal.
So Goodwin gets his first for the year. Crows have 3 on the board. St Kilda have had most of the football in the early part of the game, but they haven't been able to get the score on the board. St Kilda most efficient. Francis on the left, wobbles it in. Mitchell in front spot, takes the mark, 50 out. Chip kick finds Thompson.
And 50. That ball was jolted out of his arms.
By Derek Humphrey-Smith. No, he says no, but the mark clearly had been taken.
Well, isn't this 50? What's this rule all about?
Down it goes.
Ben
He dropped it, boys.
Did he?
It's hard to sort of tell from the replay upstairs, but Ben Thompson, he's playing centre wing on Nigel Smart. Smart's kicked 1. Here's an ideal opportunity to equal the ledger.
So the former Glenelg man on the left foot goes long at it. It's drifted away again. So 4 straight behinds open the scoring for St Kilda, whereas for Adelaide 3 straight.
And all from set shots, Terry. No pressure, set shots, no further out than 35 metres. You've got to kick them.
They don't help the confidence, do they?
No.
And Tim Watson looks on. Burton, forward handball to the run of Hart. As Neil Curley said, he likes the run of the Crows here this afternoon, and it continues into half forward, but Matthew Young halfback, arguably the best Saint player back there, kicks to arguably the best in the middle in Harvey.
And Robert Harvey clears out of defence to Max Hutchison on his own defensive 50. Wants the centre corridor. Oh, Wakeland just gets there in time. Back to Hutchison. Now they zigzag across the ground to Aussie Jones. They haven't advanced it all that far since Hutchison got it at half back. Over the top to Thompson. Kicked by Ben Thompson. Everett on the forward line. Well, you can't beat height, and they've got nothing to beat it.
And a great kick from Thompson too. There was just too much messing around across half-back. They were looking, trying to get it going. But when Ben Thompson gets it, more often than not, he does kick it long, and that's exactly what you need, particularly when you're structured up with Everett in the forward line.
Not an easy shot, this one, with a breeze coming from that angle.
basically got to kick for that left-hand goalpost and let the ball come back against the breeze.
There's the kick by Everett. That's well judged. That's a beauty. Saints' first goal, and it's taken a long time to get it.
Yeah, terrific kick here by Everett. Just wheeled around a little bit. Just held its line in flight. Kicked it flat, kicked it hard, directly at the goal square. Everett, such an important player for St Kilda, pushing forward to be an extra tall forward if the ball goes through that area.
Here's the centre bounce after the Everett goal. He's back up there to do it. And look at that, over the back, but well read by the Crows. A quick exchange ends up with Costa to half forward. Defensive fly and attacking fly, they're all up there. Down at ground level, Ben Thompson with Peckett, with Young.
Good kick.
To the near side, here's Everett. He will play forward of the ball for the most of the afternoon, you would expect, putting pressure on the Crows' defence. To Harvey. Forward line, Lowe didn't go at it that hard. And Bassett steps in to take the mark.
Crows making a change here. Gallagher on for Orman Allen, I would say.
Front on spoiled by Stewie Lowe. Bassett's kick, Benke almost. Looks like a singer in a rock and roll band, Brian Benke.
Norman Allen, he was the player that started centre wing on Aussie Jones. Gave him far too much latitude. I think that's the reason why Malcolm Blight has made that change.
Everett against Hart, and guess what? Hart beat him and gained about 20 metres.
Also, they've just brought Bickley from the ground. Johnson's come onto the ground. No doubt they're trying to rotate their midfield group as much as possible.
So here we go again. Everett gets a hand of this one. Ben Thompson's been prominent in the last 5 minutes. Hart sweeps up at ground level. Johnson, away to Hart. Out in front of goals. Good kick. Vardy! Burton, he's come from nowhere. He's knocked Vardy out of the contest. And Vardy said, who's got it?
He's just got terrific courage while the ball's in the air. Irrespective whether it's a teammate or an opposition player, he's just got eyes only for the football. And he is no doubt, with probably Adam Goods being the find of the year for their respective clubs.
Well, the way he came obliquely to that contest was a little bit like the mark that Winston Abraham took in Canberra last year.
Just
ran in
floated
from the
across.
side.
Yep.
I tell you, I feel it's always a good sign to see two players going for one ball.
Burton's shot for goal looks good. The Crows can do no wrong.
And the beauty of what we're seeing here today is with Adelaide, all goals in this first quarter have either been taken from uncontested marks or contested marks. Two of Burton's goals have come from contested marks in packed situations. Nigel Smart was unopposed when he got an easy chip kick across half forward and got a 50-metre penalty. And also Vardy found good with no pressure from any St Kilda player.
So Brett Burton has 2 goals. The only player on the ground to do that. The other goals with the Crows are with Smart and Goodwin. The lone goal scorer, Everett, for St Kilda. Here's Thompson again on the left foot. Down towards Lowe. He's caught 3 deep, but the big man stretches over the top to take it. On in the square, Barry Hall. He's caught behind. Now he steps in front. Drops the mark. Rashudo barges through Mitchell. Along the boundary line, he finds Hart.
That was strong.
Hart smothered down. Johnson, game number 50. Away they go. Gallagher just onto the ground. Dumped afterwards. Free kick down the ground. Burton takes the mark. Off to McLeod.
Kane Johnson wanted to go on with it, and then he realised, oops, it was Everett. I think I'll go quietly.
Goodwin. He's taken over the boundary line and boundary throwing on the outer side. It's all the Crows at the moment.
Look at this, Everett, and he gets him high and late.
Fellas, I think we've got to say there is a bit of breeze going out the Crows' way.
Here's Harvey. Steps on out just along the ground towards the heir apparent. Jones under pressure immediately. He takes the ball. It's too high.
Down the ground again,
And
Terry.
free kick. Yep. So Jones in amongst the action early. That's 6 disposals he's had. Thompson's the benefactor of this one. He's kicked a low, falls short. That is low, in towards Wakeland, and he's got it on the chest. So Shane Wakeland, drifting on down the ground, finds himself at centre half forward with the mark. Getting in Hall, falls short of him. He couldn't take the mark. Jarman just quickly on out towards the boundary line, a race towards it. It bounces, it sits. Mcgregor met, he's over the line, so is the ball. I'll throw it in. 14 points the difference. Crows leading 20 minutes now into the time-on period of the first quarter.
It shows you how they're flooding back lines. There's Jarman sweeping up behind half-back for the Crows. Boundary throw in, Saints in attack. Everett wins in front of Andrew Thompson. Approaches the 50, good centering kick. Low. Well, Stewie Lowe starting to get into the action a bit now. That's his 3rd mark today, but he's been averaging just 5 marks a game since round 10. So he's gone off the boil, and there was a game earlier this year out at Waverley where he took 18 in one game.
Yeah, and that's very strong hands. Saw there on the picture from the Goodyear blimp. Shot above the ground here at Waverley. Terrific strong hands by Lowe. But what you will see today, when Everett pushes forward, Lowe more or less pushes back to be an extra man out to the St Kilda forward line. Hart, whether he goes with him or not, we'll have to wait and see.
35 metres out, that's way left. Mitchell up early and high.
Good centering kick.
Ozzie Jones to the top of the square, but Rashudo's there for the Crows. Rashudo across to the back pocket. Jamison clears in front of Lenny Hayes, but he'll have to be good. Oh, good gather by the youngster. To Ozzie. Kick by Jones. Thompson. Bassett spoils. Still with Andrew Thompson. Now outside 50. Good shepherd by Harvey. It comes to Zilla. Low again in the chop. Almost. Barry Hall run down. Burton kicking goals and making tackles.
Oh, he's played out of the ball. It's
a big call from the umpire. I thought the tackle from Burton on Hall did take him forward.
Yeah, you have a look at this, Terry, once again, and the side-on tackle, it might have been side-on, but just to say the players held the ball, it's a very difficult decision.
There was a question mark on Barry Hall earlier in the week. Didn't complete the week at training. He's under early pressure. His side is too. They need to get a score on the board. The Saints supporters taking their anger out on the umpires. And there he is, Barry Hall.
Yeah, just having a look at Barry Hall in this first stage of the first quarter. He seems to be moving okay. A couple of times he's got off Bassett, his opponent, but kicks that have been delivered to him in his area just fallen short of its target. Bassett on a couple of occasions sport well.
Hey fellas, I thought Smart would be a tall wingman, but this young Thompson's taller again.
Well, there it is. There's a height advantage. The umpire's not happy with what he's seen just at the moment, umpire Andrew Coates.
It's just a show of strength off the ball, yep. Terry. There's not much in that. Both players are trying to get in the right spot to receive the ball from one of these ruck contests. There it is there.
So Smart slaps it down, but Harvey takes it. Works well with young Lenny Hayes across the body. Good kick in towards Hall. He's caught behind spoils from Bassett. McLaren towards Francis. Tony Francis on the left. It bounces favourably for Jones. All he has to do is pick it up, straighten up, uses the left, drags it round. That ain't bad, Jonesy. That's a goal. So the reward there for the Saints. They've been in forward often enough. Now they've got their second on the board.
Aaron Jones has no doubt been St Kilda's best player in this, the first quarter. He's already had 9 possessions, basically playing as an extra midfielder today, half forward, centre wing, call it what you like. But Jones just knows the opportune time when to push forward and be on the end of a kick from a St Kilda teammate. Good finish.
Ozzie Jones the goal and 9 possessions. Earlier in the season he couldn't get 9 possessions in a whole game. He's dropped twice. Comes to McLeod, deep inside the 50. Punch away by Peckett. Vardy, as soon as he got it he was bowled over by Burke. Peckett again.
Good pressure.
Oh, well done by Edwards to take him out. throw-in. The crowd want a free kick to St Kilda. There's a bit of heat in this game. Oh, I love it like that, warming up a cool Saturday afternoon.
But that's a terrific effort by Edwards. He was involved in the initial contest and really worked hard defensively to keep the ball in the Crows' forward 50.
And here's a Crows free kick from the boundary throw-in on the 50, and a chance for Smart with the breeze to nail one here. Nigel Smart, it starts right. It comes back, but not enough. Oh, to mark on the line by Jarman.
How easy was that? He just made things look too easily. No doubt two players, Hudson and Lowe, would like to have another chance at that, but they just couldn't get the ball across the goal line and defend in the appropriate manner. But Jarman, very composed, took a terrific mark. He'll work his way through this situation. Run around maybe on his left foot.
Close in. He's improved the angle and kicked a terrific goal.
Say it again, Mick, in case people didn't hear what you just said.
He's a freak.
He is, absolutely.
Look at the grin. He not only was goalless last week, he was scoreless. So to get a goal in the first quarter today, here's the free kick to Smart. And once again, the Saints should have got this through for a rush behind. That's 2 goals that Crows have kicked, and the Saints should have conceded 2 points.
He probably had less than a half second to assess whether do I put my hands out and mark the footy. Good players at this level don't fumble, and there's a prime example when you've got clean hands.
So Darren Jarman, an amazing 51 goals, 17 this year.
Unbelievable conversion.
He's the difference. Here's Mcgregor, a young man making his way in the game. Young charges it down, loses it. Edwards, committed to the football, does very well to stop that flow. That's a win to the Crows there, that bounce from Edwards.
Pretty hot footy for St Kilda at the moment. On a couple of occasions they've missed targets. They've just been unsure in their decision-making, mainly due to the pressure from behind with the chase from the Adelaide Crows players.
So Herbert to do it. Here's Edwards now on the left foot. He's just tossed it up out of the contest. That's not bad at all. It's touched inside the contest, but his work was excellent. The last 3 or 4 minutes from Edwards, he's been aggressive at half forward. Here it is here. And Young just gets a hand to it. They all appeal. So just the behind. Peckett into Francis. Already in a verbal barrage with Andy McLeod is Tony Francis. Wouldn't be a game without Tony doing that. Lenny Hayes. Harvey towards the wing. Here's Darryl Wakeland in that wing position, wanting to move it on quickly. Does so to Harvey again, carrying the ball to Jones. He's 55 metres out. A disciplined kick towards the top of the square. Here comes Hall. He's got it. Strong and hard at the ball was Barry Hall.
Once again, Robert Harvey. He was the architect in that setup. That was his 8th possession. Firstly, he kicked the footy on the outside of his foot to Wakeland. Great vision. More importantly, followed up his kick. His second effort was to provide the handball for Jones. And as Terry said, very disciplined kick to the front of the goal square, or about 20 metres in front of the goal square, but directly in front for Hall to compete.
Blood rule, boys.
Francis coming off for the Saints.
It's interesting to see also that Stevens has been removed from the ground because Everett went to centre half forward when Stuart Lowe went into the ruck. Herbert's gone to play as a tall defender on Peter Everett.
Fellas, I think we can all recall a couple of weeks back when Stevens went down on the G with and belted his kneecap back in. It's an unbelievable recovery in 2 weeks' time to be playing again.
Incredible.
So Barry Hall, he has kicked 36 goals this year, playing game number 49. Young man at 22 years of age, so a lot of football in front of him. With this, a most important kick for his side. 35 metres out, the full forward's done it. So Hall gets his first, St Kilda get their third, and edge closer.
Yeah, an important shot on goal by Barry Hall, but terrific setup once again by the St Kilda team. Aussie Jones has been in outstanding form in this first quarter with 10 possessions. Good centering kick to the advantage of Barry Hall, who jumped into the contest, jumped early, marked the footy at its highest point, and converted accordingly for the St Kilda team.
Ball back in the centre with just half a minute to go to quarter time. Herbert gets the ball out of the middle. Johnson beats a couple. Puts it very high to the 50. They want to mark from this. Scrap at ground level. A hand pass up to Burke. He clears to centre wing. Everett works his way to the front. Beats Herbert easily. Away to Ben Thompson. Left footer to the 50. Hall, he didn't mark it before the siren went. Hall reckons it's his ball he wants to play on, but the siren beat you, Baz. Crowd not happy, but it clearly beat him before the mark was completed. Well, what a first quarter by the Crows. I've seen them about 6 out of the last 7 weeks. I reckon that's the best they played in that time. They did have a breeze, but they kicked 5 goals to 2 in that opening term, and against a team which is, you'd reckon, going to play in the finals. Great performance by the Crows to lead 5-1 to 3-4.
The half-time to see this game's going to fathom, because there's a strong breeze going that way, and that tall timber of those St Kilda boys could be a huge advantage this quarter.
And the Saints have the breeze in this second term as Everett faces Stevens. Everett knocks it over his head, but he can't clear the centre circle again. So, Curls, you're exactly right. And the Crows boys have virtually got to concede it to Everett every time, but it's what happens next. And Mark Stevens, you wouldn't think could possibly be 100% fit, and fancy having to play in the ruck. Here he goes again against Everett. Who gets the next possession? Well, Andrew Thompson somehow. Hayes. He was looking for Harvey, didn't reach him. Comes back to Zilla, and the hand pass came in from Gowans, and right on the boundary line, Bassett takes the mark for the Crows. He works towards the outer side. Hart and Smart to combine.
And this has been an intriguing matchup between these two players. Hart obviously trying to run off Stuart Lowe at every opportunity.
Aussie Jones going like an Austin Healy, and well tuned at that. The ball out of bounds.
And Drew Gowans has come onto the ground. He's playing in a forward pocket. He's replaced Gavin Mitchell, and Brett James is his direct opponent.
Big Stewie Lowe. Only Matthew Richardson has taken more marks in the competition this year. But as Drew said earlier, it's dried up in the last few weeks for Stewie, as it's always been tough for the Saints in that period too. Here's Harvey, the man they need back.
Just fractionally high.
Robert Harvey towards centre half forward. Hall, a little bit of a push out at ground level. Rashudo, who has the job on Harvey, across the half-back line towards this near wing. Getting back is Zilla.
Yeah,
very good mark against Costa. Turns it back into centre half forward. Here comes Hall again. Wakeland's in there with him. Hart over the top. Everett does the roving. Stands, turns onto his left foot, kicks it across, and there's Stevens back there. Takes on Lowe. Wins with a good kick towards the boundary line. Some 40 metres around. Clears outside the 50 in front of Thompson for a throw-in.
Was that a drop kick, Wheels?
Not quite.
Looked like he actually did a drop kick to the right spot and right area of the ground to get the ball across the boundary line.
So in the end, he got what he wanted. Jamison out into the path there of Burton, who gives it on to Smart. Runs it along to the wing, now to the outside. Edwards falling to ground, couldn't take the mark. Peckett stays with him. Good handball on the up the benky. His kick towards half forward. Hudson waits on the bounce. Jarman swallows him up with a tackle. It's too high. Vardy couldn't get away because the free kick paid to Hudson in the front spot.
That's just the one flaw occasion in Darren Jarman's game of just giving away those free kicks back there.
Young run, gives on towards Thompson. Disposal number 8 to Ben Thompson. It's been very good. Burke along the wing. Looks for and finds Jones, racking up possessions. As Drew Morfitt said, 10 in the first quarter. And already a couple in this second quarter. To centre half forward again. Hall, it floats on over the top. Harvey and Rashudo. Rashudo just does enough to force Harvey across the boundary line.
Well, Mick, was this a drop kick by Mark Stevens?
We'll soon see. Oh, no.
A low drop punt.
I don't know how to do them nowadays.
Crows still by 9 points. It comes to Harvey, the ball jolted free. Runs into trouble. real mess up there. Hayes gets a little kick out. Zilla gives chase. Worked over the boundary line by Bickley.
And fellas, interchange for St Kilda. Mitchell, Ryan, Elliott, Campbell, one change there.
Gowns has come on in this second quarter. Mark Stevens, if he can inspire the Crows to a victory here today. Oh, it comes down to Hayes. Hits the post. He was only 15 metres out.
Double change getting ready for the Crows here. Stingline and Johnson.
Well, Saints should have kicked a few in the first quarter, and Lenny should have kicked that.
So Jamison brings it in. Game 149 for Rod Jamison.
That's
great
great
servant
play.
of the Crows. Bassett into Gallagher. Gallagher, one of 6 first-year players for the Crows out there now, so they are in a transition stage. Thompson drops it, falls in front of him, so Burton swoops on it, just with the right foot, kicks it off the ground to the outer side. And a boundary thrown in front of Goodwin.
Obvious lack of talking there by his teammate behind him.
2 Saints there together, and Ben Thompson didn't take it. He surely should have. Shane Wakelin in front. Boundary throwing didn't come in far enough. And so no side can clear the area. They're appealing for a free kick. It's not there. 8 points is the lead to the Crows.
And Wheels, usually in that situation, coaches like to see a player who's directly in front of a teammate, him call him back into the ball so you can be his eyes for you.
I don't know about you boys, but the colours of these two clubs seem to meld into each other. There's no real distinction between the colours of the two. I wonder if sometimes they confuse the players.
Yeah, it could be a valid point, Drew, because it is quite difficult when you are actually watching from a supporter's point of view. But probably down at ground level, you can distinctly know your teammates.
Aussie Jones on fire here today. Away to McLaren. Joey approaches the 50. He should kick a running goal here. Joey McLaren. Has Aussie Jones come to play?
Yeah, he certainly has, Drew. He's been a terrific player. As Drew Morford up here in the commentary box has been KO'd. He's actually fallen from his chair. What an intrigue. We've got a contest out on the ground between St Kilda and also the Adelaide Crows, but Morford, he has been knocked out. I've never seen that ever.
Here at Waverley. It is all. Aussie Jones, Joey McLaren on the ground are doing it. And Drew Morford, he's been taken from behind. There'll be an inquiry later on, I'm sure.
He's trying to knock his kneecap back in, Wheels.
Young, the Saints. They've got the first of the second quarter and they've got a sniff now. They're back to within a couple of points. Lenny Hayes, outside 50, beautifully into low. He takes it.
Unbelievable. I've seen it all.
While you're there, fellas, Jones has another new opponent now in Goodwin.
He's been the difference just at this early stage, getting the Saints back into it, Curls.
He certainly's found a lot of footy on the ground level.
I'm back, boys. I'm back. I got poleaxed. Who did it?
Well, it wasn't this man. Stewie Lowe directly in front for the Saints. He's missed it.
Never work in a commentary box where there's a ledge.
Boys, interchange bench for the Crows at this stage. Herbert, Orman Allen, Jamison and Gallagher.
Yeah, that's not a bad move from Malcolm Bligh, putting Goodwin down onto Aussie Jones. Goodwin started half forward on Young. Probably did his job reasonably well there, but Jones is just winning too much of the footy across half forward for St Kilda.
Thompson into half forward. Everett flies, takes the rebound in the air. Couldn't take it to Granley. He was held. They want to free the Saints, but now they'd be happier now because Jones has got it on 50. Goes long, Hall gets back, can't get it. It bounces out. And Drew Morford bounces back in.
For all the ball he's getting, Terry, Jones, he's not quite finishing his work with his long kicks.
This was one that he should have been able to finish. His confidence is growing right on 50. And as you said, the aid of the breeze, Curls.
Now the throw in the forward pocket. Everett tries to work it to the back. Andrew Thompson, kick smothered. And the ball towards the line. Hard angle here for the Saints, out of bounds. Well, I strapped the seatbelt back on. I could hardly work out who was running which way. Saints bench, Curls.
The which bench?
Saints were on. There's Mitchell just having a bit of a hamstring stretch. And the ball's back out of bounds. So the Crows by just a point. And I think Curls' point at quarter time about the breeze and the effect of it, we won't really know until half time who has an advantage here. Certainly the Saints have a lot of wind-assisted time left, and they've whittled the deficit, which was 9 points, down to just 1. Gowans keeps the ball in.
Okay, boys, he may have missed the St Kilda bench. Mitchell, Ryan, Elliott, Campbell.
I've missed a quarter of football, Curls. I don't know what's going on.
I think the other important thing too, Curls, just looking around these stoppages in St Kilda's forward line, they've just got far too many players around the ball. Watson would probably want his leaders of the club to draw players out from that area.
Yeah, but I think Malcolm will be the opposite, to try and give to counteract that height advantage. Just block it up a bit.
Now they've brought it to the forward line. Nobody for Hart to kick to. Mcgregor, poor old hand pass by Hart. Burke. Best on ground for the Saints last week, and it's run over the line by Wakeland.
So I think the point with that, Wheels, too, though, is when you're a forward, you can control your own starting point. Defenders will follow the forward, irrespective whether you stay close to the contest or suck away from the contest. As far as I'm concerned, there's too many players around those stoppages. You've got to draw away from that contest and allow the Harveys and the Thompsons, players who are quality in that part of the ground, to be used in that part of the ground.
Burke to Francis, kicked by Tony Francis.
Good pickup.
Great pickup at the half volley. That was by McLaren. Back to Thompson. Punch at the back by Bassett, but it only went sideways to Smart. Concedes 15 metres. Back to James. Short pass to Rasciuto on the defensive 50.
Gower's off with a left thigh injury.
Rasciuto's kick into the breeze on the bounce to Vardy. His kick with plenty of height. Not sure he wanted to kick it that high into the breeze. Edwards is there. It comes to Francis. Francis towards the broadcast wing. Ozzie Jones has been a star. And the ball beats him out of bounds. But Mick, on your point, I suppose the forwards can peel off and make position, but the backs can just play a zone, and they can get back there in numbers and just muck you up.
I think what Malcolm's trying to do is also push their half-forward line deep as possible and their wingers. But at the end of the day, defenders defend, and you certainly got to stay close to your direct opponent, especially in the opposition's forward half.
So we're 12 minutes into the second quarter. The only goal has been scored by St Kilda, so they've now moved into just a 1-point deficit against the Adelaide score.
And Wheels inside 50 at this stage. St Kilda 21 to Adelaide 11. So in terms of efficiency with the amount of times you've gone forward, Adelaide have been very productive.
Here's McLeod.
Yeah, but gee, Francis is playing him very tightly, Wheels.
I think it's been a good one there for Tim Watson, Tony Francis. Been a great pickup, really. I mean, that's why Tim Watson prioritised him in the pre-season draft, to pick him up, and hasn't let him down at all.
It's great to see Tony do that role. Played with him for 9 years or 8 years at Collingwood. Very rarely when he was given that opportunity, he didn't really accept it, but now it's a part of his makeup, and see him change his game, even though he's in his twilight years. It's a credit to him, and also the coaching and belief systems of Tim Watson.
But that can allow him to stretch his career another year or two too.
Well, exactly
Just
right.
at 30 years of age, still a fit man, Tony Francis.
No doubt.
So Shane Wakeland does the ruck work. Thompson can't get it on out. Bickley does, but it's intercepted. The Saints are away. Burke, under late pressure, gets the foot onto the ball. And the kick doesn't go where he wants it, and Hart sitting back takes the mark. Then Hart in defence. He's been averaging 14 disposals a week. There's the inside 50. 8-1 in this quarter. Low. Takes a bounce as the big man. He should get this inside 50 to make it 9. It wobbles up that way. Doesn't fall short. Right on the line, and Hart again repels. Working here with Kane Johnson.
Yeah, well, inside 50 is 8-1, but they've kicked just 1 goal, 2-0. So just as in the first quarter, they've wasted their chances up forward. Low marks on centre wing. Very short. Young across the ground. Smart backing into his opponent, and Thompson will take Smart takes the free kick.
A good play there by Smart. He just denied the space for Thompson to jump into. Very smart awareness, and a 50-metre penalty to Nigel Smart. He received one in the first quarter, also one in the second quarter. Now you dare say Nigel Smart could be in kicking distance. He'll kick from probably 48 metres.
Well, I don't know. That's more of Smart backing into Thompson rather than Thompson pushing him in the back, surely.
Bit of experience there.
Yep.
The old bull against the young one.
Absolutely. Conned a free kick and got a 50. And into the breeze, Nigel Smart kicks a great goal.
Magnificent kick.
Well, that's a real bonus for the Crows. And Tim Watson would be furious, I reckon.
On a couple of scenes, I think, Drew, if that was the 50-metre penalty, that hanging onto the jumper.
That's what it was for.
Yeah, so there's the free kick. I've got no problem with the free kick. You know, it's a touchy one now. Watch it here. Here goes Smart. Just claims him, holds him there. And for that, a 50-metre penalty, the second one to Nigel Smart, gets his second goal.
Would that penalty been from verbal, boys?
No, it was for holding. The umpire actually indicated, Curls, that Thompson held the jumper of Smart, and that's the reason why the 50-metre penalty was given.
Okay.
So Smart gets his second.
And before the game, fellas, he did set himself a goal. He did set himself an objective, 3 goals for the game.
Yeah, we actually stipulated that. Good call, Curls. 2 goals he's already kicked.
Free kick to Thompson.
Well, that was a triple whammy. Firstly the free kick, then the 50, and then just about the goal of the day.
Andrew Thompson, long into the half forward. Lowe's caught behind. Ben Thompson off the ground. Bounces into some space, leading the race. Bassett does very well, the fullback, on the left foot. The kick doesn't get out. Harvey directly back to Lowe. Lowe goes short and he finds Mitchell. Finds Hall. Well, they've got it to the man they want to have it, and that's Barry Hall. Their leading goal scorer for the year. 37 goals now to date.
Wasn't Harvey terrific in that contest?
Well,
Marked the footy, and in the same motion handballed the ball to Lowe to set up Mitchell, who in turn released the ball to Hall. Good teamwork all round by St Kilda.
Hall has 1 goal, and that in the first quarter. From 45 metres out, he's got 2 now. So the second goal to Hall. St Kilda get their second of the quarter, and are now just trailing by the 1 behind.
Yeah, terrific work here by the St Kilda team. Good short ball usage by their feet, first of all by Stuart Lowe. Could have easily blazed away, but saw Gavin Mitchell free across the forward pocket area of the ground, who in turn gave the ball to Barry Hall, who kicked his second for the day.
so the Saints back to within a point midway through the second quarter. Everett, and Herbert goes up against him. It goes St Kilda's way. Good use of the body by Herbert, but Hayes is over it, and the umpire will ball it up. So that's all Adelaide wanted out of that, a secondary baller.
Drew, I may have missed his work, but Kimmy Koska, do you boys just tell us what his stats are? I think he's having a pretty quiet day.
Yeah, you're quite right. Just 2 kicks. No handballs. Herbert wins in ruck. Oh, Harvey, brilliant. Gee, it was well stolen by Johnson. Jarman well up the ground with Hudgton. Maxey runs away from him. Wide to the wing. That's great running by Robbie Harvey. When he wins the Brownlow, the Crows win the flag. I don't think either will happen this year. On the 50, Rashudo. In he comes, Johnson. Well run by the Crows. Bickley to Vardy. Vardy to half forward. Young from behind. Good mark.
Young into Francis. Tony Francis from centre half back doesn't make good use of the football. And Tyson Edwards. The Crows now with their opportunity. Johnson, game number 50, into the forward line. Hudgton stands in front of the charging Mcgregor and takes the mark.
Yeah, and that was bad play there by Adelaide. Darren Jarman was free across half forward. Should have been used with a short kick. to break up the play because weight of numbers favoured St Kilda deep in the Adelaide Crows forward line.
So Francis and Burke get it back to Hodgson, who gives it back to Burke, who comes directly across to Young. When they switch the play like that, they need to keep the forward momentum going because they can have it stolen just like it is on this occasion. And the kick from Young was a poor one.
It's touched off hands. Wheels. Just at times St Kilda just try to be too cute with their disposal rather than getting long the ball to Lowe, Everett or Hall in a quick manner.
Stenglein quickly in the contest, gets the kick out and falls to Jarman. Well, there's the advantage in just getting the ball out quickly. And here's the run of Johnson, and he's got it.
That's a beautiful kick.
You wouldn't mind playing in front of Darren Jarman, would you?
You'd certainly know when to lead.
I can't quite work out from a Crow's point of view why this boy doesn't spend more time on the ground.
His work rate's pretty good.
He is. It's 21, game number 50, and already 2 premierships under his belt. He's missed on this occasion. And a good pickup for the Adelaide Crows, without doubt. A lot of injuries during his career with groin and hamstring problems, but on the big occasions he's been there, Kane Johnson. St Kilda now defending deep in defence. Peckett kicks towards Ziller. It's spoilt away. Ziller gets a second chance. They need to be aggressive in going through centre half forward. That handball doesn't hit the target. Stenglein taken in the tackle. Hart comes. Mitchell doing the tackling on Smart. Smart getting angry. There's no doubt about it. He's got something to say to the umpire, but eventually settles down and gives the ball back.
Well done by Nigel Smart, though. He had probably 3 players to beat if he didn't win this ball at ground level. Watch this. He comes in from the top of the screen. 1, 2, 3 players around the ball for St Kilda. Smart held it in the area. Very good play.
Now the Saints go forward. Punch out of defence by Rasciuto. Robbie Harvey leads the race for the ball. Brilliant football by the dual Brownlow medalist. Look at that! He's missed a month with a calf injury. Brilliant stuff, Harvey. Comes to the front to Mitchell, but he's lost control of it. James, well, Herbert didn't know which way to go. Barry Hall's got it right in front. The hand pass should be a goal to Hayes. Only just.
And there's another example of making sure you use the ball first option. Herbert was the player here, just caught in 2 minds where to release the footy. There it was, should have given it there to James, but decided to go backwards. That's when the pressure doubles. Good play, Hall, to handball to Hayes, who converted for the St Kilda team to give them the lead.
It's time on in the second quarter at Waverley. St Kilda hit the lead for the first time in the game. They trailed by as much as 15 points in the first quarter. They've worked their way back with 3 goals in this second quarter. Adelaide now searching for their second. There's the strong tackling in the forward line. St Kilda can't clear. McLeod also taken in a tackle. The tackle held on too long by Thompson. That's Ben Thompson. The free kick comes back to Andy McLeod.
Nigel Smart should be used too.
Here's Burton. Stands, delivers long. Wakeland spoils. Rushes it through for the behind. St Kilda trail by 3. They lead by 3.
Yeah, Drew, I was just watching Mark Stevens doing a bit of a run with the warm-up. You're right, he is not 100% fit.
Yeah, actually, I even thought he might have got a bit of a knock in about the first minute of the game.
Who too?
I reckon the first contest might have fixed him up a bit.
Yeah, he may well have.
Shane Wakeland to the outer side. Joey McLaren, who's been good. Stenglein, his new opponent. McLaren gets a free kick for interference. 8 disposals to Joey McLaren and 1 very good goal into forward towards Hall. Floats on over the back, a good one. Slaps it back here towards Hart. He's trying to find Rasciuto. Eventually the toe poke from Hall comes to Rasciuto and relieves for the Crows.
To midfield, Vardy to Smart, who's run brilliantly today, Nigel Smart. Long to an open forward line. Mcgregor in the goal square. Good boy.
Yeah, just good body use against Wakeland, his opponent. Just held his ground, very strong in the contest. Great penetrating kick. there by Nigel Smart as Peter Everett is coming from the ground. Elliott gets his first run for the day. But promising young player is Ken Mcgregor from West Torrens in South Australia. Had a quiet day at this stage, but difficult position to ask to play at a young age, centre half forward.
To get the lead back, and he's done it. Well, playing just his 5th game, Ken Mcgregor, he's got a bit of size. He's only 18 years of age, and I've seen his 5 games, and he is a player of the future.
I think the value of Adelaide today is just getting the ball forward long with their foot disposal. In the first quarter, they had 38 kicks, only 17 handballs. This stage of the second quarter, it's been 37 kicks, 13 handballs. So they've kept it simple, played direct footy to their key forwards.
So Ken Mcgregor, game number 5, goal number 5. So he's kicked 1 in each of his games. As Ben Hart comes off under the blood rule.
Yeah,
Rod Jamison, the player going on.
Nothing serious, Terry, just a minor patch-up job.
So he shan't be off for too long. It is nearly half-time. We're 25 minutes into this second quarter.
A few band-aids have been needed, though.
There has. Some superficial cuts. Peter Everett sitting, looking on. He sees his side trailing by 3 points now. Big Herbert takes advantage of Everett's absence, gets well up in the air. McLeod with Bickley. The Crows very good out of the centre bounce. Johnson goes long, but there's Darryl Wakeland. In defence to Young. The runner for St Kilda from half-back. Comes on out wide towards Thompson. Ben Thompson it is. His left foot kick. Low leads, low marks. Very good. All of it probably down low. Up he gets. Now there's a crowded forward line for the Saints. Decides to go wide. Smart camps underneath it. Elliott does well to slap it away. Smart up to the task at ground level. Andrew Thompson couldn't find it. Harvey can. Steps around. Taken very well by Johnson in the tackle. Releases McLeod through the centre of the ground. Benke takes the mark. Crows much more direct into their forward line. Here's the run. Burton's got it.
And Terry, this is when they're most dangerous, when they do break from half-back.
And they've got targets everywhere in the forward line just at the moment.
It's been interesting watching the two sides actually go into their forward area. Jamison, as he took a very good contested mark once again, had a little bit of pressure from 2 St Kilda opponents. Here it is here, the marking contest. Wakeland just couldn't get there. But in actual fact, if Jamison kicks this goal, 7 of the 8 goals that'll be scored are all been from marks inside their forward 50.
Normally a reliable kick.
And curls, he has let you down, mate.
I'll retract that.
Hopeless kick. Crows by 4 points. Grimace on the face of St Kilda first-year coach Tim Watson. Of course, Tim was working for Channel 7 when St Kilda played the Crows 2 years ago in the grand final. So he's got no revenge to seek out of this game, but I'm sure a few of the players have. After the Crows won by 31 points after trailing at half-time.
Hart ready again.
Kick by Francis to Wakeland. In he comes to Zilla. He's got Nathan Burke, but doesn't want him. Zilla goes for distance. Low! Magnificent mark! He is back in town today, Stewie Lowe.
Yeah, he had his name written all over that. Jumped early, got a little bit of a ride in the marking contest, but those familiar big mitts across that ball, he made sure it was his and his only. Look at that, jumped early, eyes on it, vice-like grip, and brought it to ground. Great mark.
And Mickey is always going to be a danger with the lack of height in the Crows team today.
Yeah, certainly good call, Curls.
Well, he's already taken 8 marks today, and in this 7-week slump that Saints have gone through, he's averaged only 5 a game. In that 7 weeks, they lost 5 of them. So his form was down and the team's was down. Today, he's back in town.
And his normal player, Pittman, of course, is unavailable.
So the Saints trailing by 4 points. Stewie Lowe to put them back in front. It's away to the right. He's missed it. Missed a golden opportunity. Well, the mark deserved a goal.
Yeah, well, 6 of his kicks this quarter have come from 5 of the marks that he's taken. But that is a terrific contested mark in front of goal. But unfortunately, Stewie Lowe's kicking at times can let himself down and also the team down.
So from the resultant behind, the ball ends up with James. Gives it off to Johnson. So James in his 100th to Johnson in his 50th. Bickley, Jarman, Johnson on the overlap. Excellent kick out wide. Benke takes the mark. Falls when he needed to keep his feet because there was crows flying everywhere. Turns around now into the forward line. Mcgregor does well ground level to Smart right on the siren. The kick missed. The score won't count. But the Crows finish the quarter full of running into their forward line. Whereas on the other hand, St Kilda have tended to be stagnant out of defence. Haven't generated that run they want yet. And they find themselves trailing by 3 points. Big question mark on St Kilda is their third quarter, where over the last couple of months they've gone missing in that quarter. Going in today's game, they'd only kicked 48 goals in the third quarter compared to 74 by their opponents. So it's a big halftime break for Tim Watson.
And a happy position for the Crows to be leading at halftime by 3, 7-4 to 6-7.
I think maybe 3 or 4 possessions across the midfield, not good enough.
Start of the third quarter here at Waverley, and Herbert goes up against Everett. Everett palms it down beautifully. St Kilda straight into attack. Hall, he pushed and gave away a free kick to Bassett.
Yeah, and Campbell's just come onto his first run today. He was the player that got that ball forward. Very good centre bounce player. So you'll see him get a lot of the footy from that part of the ground.
Gee, Burton's a good player. He doesn't wait for the ball. He goes and meets it. Good mark. Into midfield. Bickley pops up a hand pass. Jarman working up to midfield. McLeod slippery as an eel. Here goes Burton again. Oh, you're holding it. He tried to beat the paddock. And that's one of the few spectacular things he's done this year that have come unstuck.
I'll tell you what, Mick, when you make a change as a coach, then you get an instant response like Brad Campbell here. Centre bounce, now laid a strong tackle. That's a good outcome.
Yeah, he got that kick out of the middle and now the tackle. And that's all in the first minute.
So he works with Burke now. He goes to half forward. Here's Hall a long way out. Bassett right there with him in front. Hall comes back a second and dives on the ball. They're all asking the question. Out spins on out and eventually over the line through the legs of Austin Jones. Jones with 14 first half disposals and some great running. Picked up a goal.
It's good work by Barry Hall. Head in the hole. Didn't worry about the consequences. Made sure he got first hands on the footy. Good play.
Low in front spot, takes it away, but Hart right there with him, so they can't clear it. They all dive in it again, and it'll be bounced. Harvey, the last man up. Back into the side. He's missed 4 of the last 5 games, and in that time, the Saints have lost 3 of those 4. Thompson from low, across the body. Wakeland in the forward line. He tries to rip it out the top, but it's Risciuto in front, surely. And umpire Scotty McLaren sees it the same way.
And that was magnificent play. No doubt it's a set play of St Kilda's. As soon as the ball's in flight, Aussie Jones, the player that peels off the contest. Risciuto was aware of that on that occasion because in the first quarter, that's what Aussie Jones did and got the footy. But Risciuto was well aware of it. He peeled off his opponent in Harvey, dropped back into that hole to take a great mark.
Risciuto and Bassett. Couple of possessions each, and eventually Risciuto out to the near side. The bounce doesn't favour Smart, misses him completely, and it'll be thrown in.
And fellas, you were right, Drew. Stevens did get a knock on that troublesome knee at the opening bounce, and he doesn't look like taking any further part in the game.
Well, that's a severe blow there to Malcolm Blight on the side.
Well, that's number 5, is it, for the season? I've lost count.
That's correct.
That's unbelievable.
Tony Francis across the body, doesn't get it out. Risciuto again.
Playing a great game, this boy, Terry.
Playing well across half-back. He really returned to form last week. Had a heap of touches, over 30. And this man's in form. Burton.
That's a good kick.
Excellent kick into McLeod.
We saw far too many turnovers by both sides in the first half with the poor kicking. Let's hope they can get it right. So
McLeod this time falls short of Benke, but he takes it on the bounce. Handball's back. Hart drifting further from goal. Comes in now towards centre half forward. Doesn't find a mark. Here's Campbell. with some strength, just pushed on out, finds low at half-back.
Yeah, Campbell playing just his third game for the season and doing particularly well at the start of this second half. Rob Harvey shows it to Rashudo. Rashudo gets a smother in. Overrun by Lowe, and then he's pushed. And a free kick to Stewie Lowe.
Someone's got to pick up Harvey, work for their teammate, because Rashudo's standing the mark. Good cover there by Ben Hart.
Comes in short to Aussie Jones. No addition to the score. And we've been playing a few minutes in this third quarter. Peckett near midfield. Goes for a bit of distance into the breeze. Hall caught behind. Bassett, well done. Well done, Fred. Smart. Kick by Smart. Wobble straight to Aussie Jones. Worst bloke on the field to give it to. And Aussie coming up for his 16th disposal. Out short to Wakeland. He's kicked a half forward. Hall. Yeah, good lead. He's a mile from goal. One in short. Oh, smothered by Bassett, the man on the mark.
We're still seeing these poor kicks.
Yeah, we certainly are, Curls. You suggested the first half was full of turnovers. This stage, players just aren't balancing themselves to use the ball effectively. They're putting themselves under pressure by trying to move the ball too quickly when they're not far away from the mark, as in that Hall situation.
Lowe couldn't complete the one-hander. Actually takes it all the way to the ground, holding it in one hand, and that is holding the ball, Stewie.
You're in turnovers are Adelaide 13 and St Kilda 15 in a half a footy, and just over, far too many from two quality teams.
So Ben Hart, Stuart Lowe's opponent, takes the free kick, goes towards half forward. Andy Thompson couldn't take the mark in front. Edwards tripped on his way through. He's asked for 50 and he's got 50.
50
There's
metres.
a report, is there?
Yeah.
So Justin Peckett has his number taken there for a deliberate trip by foot. With that comes 50 metres. Umpire Andrew Coates is the man on the spot.
Here it is here, Wheels. You have a look at James. Good evasive ability. Peckett just stuck out his right leg. Didn't appear to be much in it, but the rules are there.
And also it could be the third Crow goal from a 50 metre.
Yep, good point, Curls. 2 to Smart and 1 to Edwards.
So now that will be up to the AFL Tribunal during the week to adjudicate on. Tyson Edwards has been very good throughout the day, particularly in close where he's hard. He, Costa and McLeod are the top three tacklers for the Crows. They're prepared to get in and have a go at it. Hasn't kicked one yet this afternoon. So that's the third goal to the Crows from 50-metre penalties.
And at the end of the day, that could prove very costly.
It's those things, I mean, when you look at St Kilda, and they've also had losses this year against Hawthorn, Collingwood, Fremantle, games they shouldn't have lost, and now little things like this creeping in the game. Signs aren't good.
Stewie Lowe actually got a kick away, but he was ping-ponging the ball.
On Wheels, at the end of the day, 50 metres are something you can control.
Back in the middle, Everett beats Herbert. And once again, Campbell hit the ball at 1,000,000 miles an hour, but they haven't got the football now. Smart has it for the Crows. Back to centre half forward. Vardy caught underneath the ball. Wakeland. Darryl Wakeland. Oh, off the side of the boot, went sideways and out of bounds at half back.
And knowing that Robert Harvey's missed a lot of footy over the last month, I just wonder whether it's time for Timmy Watson to make a decision on Nathan Burke. He's been good on Vardy in a defensive post and a back pocket, maybe to generate some more hardness in the midfield, to win the footy in that part of the ground. Maybe Burke could be the answer.
Saints free kick. Advantage goes to Francis. Tony Francis gallops across half-back. Good Shepherd allows him to go further. And now Darryl Wakeland just up short of centre wing. Hudgens runs from defence. Here's Max. Up towards half-forward. In short to Lowe. Oh, he should have marked it. Ben Hart said, thank you very much. Away to Stenglein. Youngster from Western Australia in his first season. Short to Edwards. Edwards with a bit of distance to centre wing. Young, Matty Young gets in front and beats Jarman to the pill. Adelaide by 9 points.
Young and McLaren work at half-back. A couple of little balks from Joey McLaren. All it did was put himself under more pressure with the kick falls to Hudson. Now Peckett He's got Everett out wide and kicks it to him. So Peter Everett down in the forward line. St Kilda badly needing goals. They get him close enough, often enough. Need to be able to convert it.
And Terry, while we're there, interchange for St Kilda. Hayes, Ryan, Elliott, Gowers.
Peter Everett has one goal. Kicked in the first quarter at this end. This one really just gets in for a behind, and that's all. A bad Mr. Spider. Hasn't kicked more than 2 goals this year, Spider, so he hasn't been the dominant player in the forward line that we've come to know.
It just appeared then that Stewie Lowe got mesmerised to where he was. It looked like he just left the ball hoping that the ball would go through the goals.
Interchange for Adelaide. Stevens, Orman Allen, Jamison, Gallagher.
And the thing about those interchanges is that Malcolm Blight has used all 22 players, but Tim Watson hasn't used Ryan or Elliott. Herbert. Francis claiming he's holding it, and the umpire says no, I'll ball it up. Tony Francis with the look of a big man as he was holding Herbert down on the ground. I suppose in that situation St Francis was a big man. Oh, the knock comes to Rashudo. He ran into trouble with Zilla. Play on. The hand pass to Costa. And this is Kim Costa's 3rd touch for the day. Quite incredible. Johnson to the 50. Too long for Mcgregor. Here's Burton, always dangerous. And Young, I think, will be pretty happy to get that ball over the boundary line.
And Drew going back to Kimmy Costa. It's not as if he doesn't work. He's a very hard-working player. Obviously not just running his way today.
So the Crows going with the breeze, which is going right to left in this 3rd quarter. They need to build up a pretty handy lead, you'd reckon, by 3-quarter time. But this has been St Kilda's bogey quarter for most of the season. Campbell's been in the thick of things this quarter. Hudgton on all 4s. Shane Wakeland near the boundary line, met by McLeod. Oh, Wakeland scoops it up. The ball eventually out of bounds. The Crows claiming a free kick for any number of reasons, but nothing doing.
Tony Francis there, he knows the heat's on for St Kilda. The Saints sat 3rd on the ladder after round 10 with their win against Geelong down at Shell Stadium. Since then, they've only won twice against Richmond and Melbourne, and they've fallen to 7th. Their position in the 8 really under the pump. And Adelaide here, not to make it easy for the Saints at all. Wakeland to take the free kick. This is Shane Wakeland. Again, they switch the play across half-back line. Everett, a little bit of space for the big man, takes a bounce, continues the path this near side. Darryl Wakeland slips. Rod Jamison judges it the better and takes the mark.
Indirect football once again, short to a 50-50 contest.
Jamison puts it in towards the centre corridor. That's where they want it. Here's Bickley charging through. Works with Herbert. He back to Smart. Smart off one step. Kicks to within 30 metres of goal. Young does the spoiling. Jones at ground level. Johnson's with him. Johnson pushing, shoving. Both of those qualities take Jones over the line, the push and the shove.
Looks like Herbert's coming from the ground. Orman Allen's coming back onto the ground.
He'll be the new ruckman.
Vardy takes the ball, tries to get it on out. Johnson caught in the Thompson tackle.
Well, at least Herbert's fit, girls.
You blokes think I'm joking. He is going to Everett.
He certainly is. Obviously trying to play as an extra midfielder. But no doubt Everett will just push forward, mismatch in height.
He's got a huge leap, Orman Allen. You'll need one.
He'll need it. You need a staircase.
So Wakeland doing the ruck work for the Saints in defence. Bounces on out. Half forward, Rashudo over the top of Harvey. They're looking for a free Costa, a good little push on out. The Crows win a free kick. Mitchell is hanging on to James.
50 metres again. That is just undisciplined play there by St Kilda.
And the supporters here for St Kilda are unhappy. But really, your call is the most accurate of all the expressions here at the moment, Mick. Undisciplined footy.
There's just no need for it. Like, the free kick was given. Hudson realised that the ball was certainly going to Brett James. Continued to run and carry the footy away from Brett James when he should have released the ball. 50-metre penalty, maybe 4th goal because of that result. And it is.
James makes a certain goal out of it. Hodgson giving the free away, or the 50-metre penalty away, and Adelaide now starting to step on out with a handy break.
And here's the free kick here, Terry. The ball gets spilt to ground. Costa just shepherding the area. Good tap on to keep the footy alive. Free kick was given for head high. There's Hodgson. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 15 paces, then gives the ball back.
Well, this is right out of hand now. St Kilda conceding 4 goals from 50-metre penalties, and they trail by 14 points. Ormond Allen in the ruck against Everett. Everett clean possession. I'll tell you what, he'll know he's got an opponent though. That bloke will leave a few bruises. Up towards 50. Hart left his opponent low to hit the ball running. Beautiful kick.
That's a much better matchup too on low, Hart.
Kane Johnson goes for a gallop. He's taken all the way to the 50. Well, not quite. Front of the pack, Bickley. The whistle's gone. And a St Kilda free kick at last. And listen to the crowd.
Yeah, over the shoulder here. There it is there. Good free kick. Certainly there.
They work it into the breeze. Peckett, who's been reported this quarter for a trip. Campbell's been good in this third quarter.
That's
poor kick. Prosciutto. Oh, that's a great kick by Mark Prosciutto. And Johnson's getting on the end of some beautiful kicks out of defence.
And another long one.
To half forward. Bickley, the skipper, goes a half-distance pass. Well, this fella's kicked a couple. He might get another one here.
And I think, Drew, that's typified the day. St Kilda, with their short passing, have turned the footy over, whereas when the Adelaide Crows win the footy, particularly players like Prosciutto, very penetrating with their ball use and length of their kicking, they got the ball out of the danger zone, and Burton's got a shot on goal.
And Burton gets his third.
Yeah, very good ball play there by the Adelaide Crows. There's a good clearing kick there by Prosciutto. Magnificent touch to find Johnson. He, in turn, kicked the ball long and low to Bickley, who ran to space. He had plenty of time to assess an option. He found his teammate in Burton free already this quarter. 26 kicks, 12 handballs. Most of them have found their target.
Burton's third goal has put the Saints under all sorts of pressure. St Kilda hit the front for the first time, 20-minute mark of the second quarter. But since then, Adelaide have kicked 4 unanswered goals. You'd expect to be looking at the side that are looking to maintain a spot in the final 8 to be putting up a better performance than this.
Okay, fellas, tell me, have you ever seen a smaller ruckman than Ormond Allen?
No, officially, he's got it.
Edwards out, but there's a free kick back where the contest was. Umpire Scott McLaren, an experienced umpire, he's nearing 100 games himself, gives it to Stewie Lowe.
We might just find out the value of a ruckman. Unless Everett can find teammates, their value might be nil.
Well, here's Everett in the forward line. It gets on down towards Jones. Cross the body. That's a great effort. The Crows getting back, though. The Adelaide defence have been very good today.
Yeah, Prosciutto, he's been very good across half-back. He's had 16 possessions, 13 and 3. Ben Hart's done his role on Stewie Lowe. Admittedly, Stewie Lowe's taken some good marks, but Hart's also been a rebounding defender.
And Burke's got on the ball, boys.
So Costa, as Neil Curley said, just one of the few touches for Kim today, but he's backing up with a couple of back-to-backs here. Works with Edwards. It's a fine line out there for the Crows. They're trying to find their way through. They can't. They only find the boundary line, and it's a throw-in. James Gowan was the player for the Saints to wrap it all up with a good, strong tackle.
And at this stage, because Burke's gone back into the midfield, he certainly had to get to that part of the ground. McLaren's gone back to a back pocket. Maybe a player like Stephen Zilla should go pick up Vardy, because I think McLaren's run could be very valuable for St Kilda.
Ormond Allen does the ruck work and then wins the kick. Inside 50, here's Jarman, right on the 50, right on the boundary line. He goes towards the square, it bounces. It's a live one for them. Burton, he's kicked 3, gives it off to Goodwin. He's kicked 1, goes at it. It's another mark, it's Mcgregor.
Another one that should have been punched through for a behind.
The Saints defence.
Gee, that's good.
Holes everywhere.
Umpire has called it back. Time on was called. It's the reason why the footy's going back to Mcgregor. Young players have to think their way through this situation. Don't panic. Have a look. If there's nothing on inside, okay, what am I going to do? Am I going to open up the angle and kick it across my body a la Darren Jarman?
Well, he's had a go at it.
But missed.
So the youngest man on the ground has a go, but misses that particular shot at goal. So let's have a look at it from up on high. He gets out far enough, but not the skills yet of D. Jarman quite.
I just think he didn't give himself enough time to get closer to goal for that hook, Terry. There's still too much space between the man on the mark and where he actually kicked it. When you do kick across your body like that, and you hook it a little bit, it does go very fine.
Darryl Wakeland clears the 50. Here's Everett. Now he needs to find a teammate. Gotcha. Nathan Burke. Burke's kicked to half forward in the direction of Hall. Crunch. Oh, well played to Ben Thompson. Down to the forward line. A one-out contest. A bit of a juggle. Almost taken by Gowans. Rashudo. Edwards. Hart. And the Crows out of trouble. James.
Great football. Great defensive football.
Button! Oh, no! He had the Cadburys wrapped up. Off the ground he goes to half forward. Johnson. Very high towards the 50. And Jarman again, always dangerous. Oh, look at this. Look at this. He measures it. Oh, what a goal.
How late was he to delay that ball? Magnificent. He just committed the St Kilda defender to more or less fall to the ground first before he actually changed his direction. This is just magnificent. Look at that for a jump by Burton. Good recovery. Knew he would have been under pressure if he had to grab the footy. Got it forward by his foot by kicking it off the ground. But have a look at Jarman here. First of all, the good mark. Let's balk. Magnificent.
And the kick aimed at the left goalpost and just steered right through the middle. Absolute class.
And you'd have to say, boys, the Crows have a lot more method in their game than St Kilda at this stage.
There's certainly no doubt about that, Curls. They have more direction. They have a focal point in the forward line. They're prepared to go there. Here's the Saints. Zilla will put him into the half-forward line. The best chance. Hall pushing and shoving. Keeps his feet. Runs into low. They need to get it on the up. Does feed on out, but only into the path of Edwards. Tyson Edwards. McLeod. Quieter game today compared to last week when he had 26 touches against Crawford. Smart. Everett comes on in. Here's Burton. Great hands. The burst of McLeod. This is direct football. Into the centre corridor. Into centre half forward. Mcgregor over the top of Shane Wakeland. Matthew Young there to support for the Saints. Pirouettes out of trouble to Lenny Hayes. Back to Young. The forward handball. Always dangerous, but Hudson works it on back to McLaren. Another one. They need the kick. Here it is from Zilla. Hall's on out wide. They found him.
And there's a difference, getting the ball into the centre corridor. It's amazing when you do that, it gives your key forwards three options to lead. Left of the goal square, straight up the ground, or to the right of the goal square. Three-dimensional play is very hard to protect from the defender's point of view. That's what St Kilda have got to do more of.
So Hall has 2 goals straight. From right on the 50. He's missed it. St Kilda's woes in the third quarter continue. 22 and a half minutes in the third quarter, but here's Brett Burton. Look, up he goes again. And Drew, you've seen a lot of him.
Oh, he is just, I reckon he's got 8 out of the top 10 candidates for Mark of the Year. St Kilda's third quarter woes certainly continuing. The Crows have kicked 4-1 to 3 points in this third quarter.
Now, Terry, you've coached footy. Lowe is without doubt the most dangerous big man out there today at centre half forward. Why take him out of there and put him in the ruck when you have Everett there?
I agree with you. You know, Stewie in close is their best chance.
Here's Jarman again in the goal square. He flogged Hudson a few minutes ago and he's just done it again.
Well, Mick McGuan let the adjective of freak slip out earlier on. It's not too far off the mark, is it? just over such a long period of time in Australian rules football at the highest level. He's done it week after week.
And Jars has got 3. Well, the Saints sure know how he can kick a goal. Remember the 5 in the last quarter in the grand final in '97.
Yeah, just an unbelievable player. 6 kicks, 3 goals straight. Just got his opponent Hudson underneath the flight of the footy. That's been the breeze all day from sort of right, top right of screen to bottom left of screen. That's the sort of wind approach towards the goal. The footy carried into the hands of Jarman.
46 points, trails 77. The centre bounce from above, Everett in ruck. Orman Allen does very well again, a big leap. So all he has to do is make contact with the footy, leave it to the ground level players to sort out from there. But the Saints take it through Hayes into half forward. Here's clean work at ground level as Andy McLeod on out towards Smart.
Mr. Electric Lux at ground level.
Orman Allen.
Yeah, good change of direction just to make Everett accountable, because Everett was pushing forward to block the hole. Orman Allen dragged him out of that area. Good change of direction there by Nigel Smart. Gone back to the same spot.
Mick, there would be the instruction to give it to Orman Allen on every opportunity to ensure that Everett is committed to him.
Yep.
Here's James, his 100th game of AFL footy. Young at the front, takes the mark. Good couple of grabs at it from the front position. Plays on quickly to Burt. They go across the ground now. Gowans at half-back for the Saints.
Everett this time. Gallagher standing the mark. Everett hasn't seen anybody today who's half his size. In he comes to Hodgson, who must be shot after the last 4 or 5 minutes against Jarman. To Burt. Thompson. And now Young. Kicked by Young. Hall. Saints still looking for their first goal this quarter. A fumble by Barry. And I don't know what happens to St Kilda in the 3rd quarter, but somebody's given them the hex over the last month.
Well, Stewie Lowe's actually telling his players further afield, get the ball back in that grid from point post to the centre square line on both sides of the ground. That's where you've got to win the footy if you're going to kick goals. You're not going to kick goals from where Barry Hall was about to receive the footy from. Low percentage, very difficult shot on goal. You're better off getting the ball back into that central part of the ground where Lowe or Hall can compete.
Interesting change for St Kilda. Elliott on, tall man. Francis off, small man.
Lowe wins in ruck, but the ball back out of bounds. Well, it's not as though this is a gale curls from right to left. In fact, I think the breeze might have died off a bit, hasn't it?
I think it has dropped away just a tad, but there's still a little bit going to the left end.
Well, you certainly can score into it. St Kilda scored 3 in the first quarter, and the Crows scored 2 in the second. So if the Saints go goalless in this quarter, it'll be their fault, not the wind's fault. Smart spoils Lowe. Andrew Thompson gone out of it a bit. Back to Campbell. A centering ball. Chance for Hall. Oh, about 8 of them went for it. Zilla pulled off his hand pass. Here's the ruckman, Orman Allen. Took a bit of a knock from Lowe, but he gets it back to Hart. And they're too smart, the Crows. Experience. David Gallagher runs away and clears the 50. It's a 31-point lead to the Crows.
This the boy has played well since he's come on, Johnson.
Johnson has made a difference. Gallagher hasn't been too bad either, Curls. So the interchange bench has worked well for the Crows.
Yeah.
And his kick, Gallagher's kick, finds Burton.
Well, you wouldn't know if St Kilda's interchange is working because he hasn't used most of it.
Johnson, Jarman, deftly to the right, then to the left, into the forward line. Vardy keeps his feet. Shane Wakeland off the ground, works with Peckett. Wakeland providing the shepherd. Peckett goes to the outer side to Young again. He's getting a fair bit of it. That's the 17 disposals to Matthew Young. It's an accurate one. Thompson running on to 50. They need to make something of this. Behind is Lowe. Did he touch it? It goes over the back. Let's hope he didn't. He hasn't.
And Ben Hart's not happy.
I think Ben will call for a fingerprint dust on the ball.
Yeah.
He claims that Stewie Lowe may well be on it.
Yeah, good play there by Thompson. Really attacked the cold face of the goal square. Backed his instincts, kicked the ball low and flat. Lowe certainly didn't touch that ball. Benny Hart certainly thought he did. But that's the goal that St Kilda needed to get, because Adelaide previously had kicked the previous 6 goals of the game.
back in the centre. And just in time, a goal for the Saints. Less than a minute to three-quarter time. Burke out of the middle. Oh, good effort by Rashudo, and then pushed in the back, and he'll take a free kick.
St Kilda's last goal before that was at the 21st minute mark of the second quarter, the one by Lenny Hayes.
James goes wide. Oh, McLeod, brilliant play. Then goes off the ground. He's following up. He might get it back again. But Young leaves his opponent to dash up the ground for the Saints. Another one will be handy for the home side. Campbell waited for it. The Crows haven't waited all day. James spoiled. Down to Bickley. Back to James eventually. Little kick in. Oh, shocker. Wakeland takes the mark to Hudson. 12 seconds remaining in the term. Oh, Hudgen's given it away to Benke. Maxie Hudson has been in the Bermuda Triangle this quarter. Short pass, and Mcgregor has it. Big boy, big lump of a lad. Siren. He'll need to kick a 55-metre drop punt after the siren.
I'll tell you now, he will get the distance. Huge kick, this boy.
Yep, I like his chances.
And Drew, just as he's lining up for goal, I think one pertinent part of the game today is the Adelaide's defence. They've rebounded 28 times from that part of the ground from St Kilda's 37 entries.
Mcgregor gets the distance but hooked it and kicked the behind. So he's kicked one goal too. But boy, that is a handy break to the Adelaide Crows. And St Kilda's season and position in the 8 is going to be on the line in the last half hour here at Waverley. Hudson, he had 2 goals kicked on him by Jarman, then gave it up to Mcgregor. But look at this, at three-quarter time, 78 to 52. Summary of the situation, girls.
And Drew, Everett starting at full forward. Hall and Stuart Lowe are basically playing across centre forward. Tim Elliott's gone into the ruck for St Kilda. 3 talls might make it a congested area for their forward line. A little bit concerned with that setup. And Ormond Allen, the shortest ruckman in league football ever, has won the centre hit out. And the Crows go forward. They're at the 50 already, and the ball being blocked up in the attacking 50. Trent Ormond Allen, and he just went over the top of Elliott and won it.
It's just wonderful. Malcolm Blood, he pulled Mark Stevens first up. That was to be the ploy. He stuck with the ploy by going with another unheralded ruckman, and Ormond Allen. As you said, Drew, he's been very good in there.
Good tackle on Peckett, but he had no chance of getting rid of the ball. The umpire will ball it up.
One thing about Ormond Allen, his attack on the ball could never be questioned. He does attack it ferociously, so he doesn't care about whether he gets hurt or not. Is a jumping player. Probably a surprise by many, but obviously a good tactic by Blighty.
And I think often his opponent worries about whether he's going to get hurt or not, because a few of them playing on this young number 21 have been hurt.
And also, Drew, to follow up what you said before, the breeze has died right down in the Crows' favour.
And the Seagulls have arrived here at Waverley almost like vultures circling above St Kilda.
So here's Tim Elliott to take on the ruck work in the centre bounce. Zilla trying to barge through. You don't get past Rashudo. Uses his hands to find Harvey. Campbell off the interchange bench at half-time and was very good in that third quarter. Into the path of Thompson, courageously at the ball. Spills away. Jones. Saints need something. Hall can't take it. All the big men are down there, but the Crows have numbers at ground level. Bassett and Smart work together. Takes a bounce to carry it out of the defensive 50. Kicks onto the outer side. Benke there with Darryl Wakeland. Darryl Wakeland does well to turn the ball back inside. McLaren and Burke. Nathan Burke. High, low, in front. Spoilt by Bassett. Thompson cleans up. Back inside. Here's Everett. Here's their best goal-scoring chance.
Did I see James on Everett then in the pocket?
Yeah, well, you just did, merely because his opponent is Smart curls, and Smart was the player that actually tried to rebound that footy. James was in the area. He tried to cover, but it's not a direct matchup.
Big Peter Everett, eyes darting. I'd much prefer him to make the decision to kick the goal himself. 4 goals in the last quarter from Peter Everett would be just what the Saints need. Has he got the first of them? That face says it all. He was good in the last quarter last week. He kicked 3 goals from that position to get the St Kilda side up and over Melbourne. The Saints have only come back from behind to win after trailing three-quarter time twice this year. Their best was against the win against Geelong when they were 19 down. Today they've got to do it from 26. It's a big ask. Jones is fighting as if he can do it. Hall out at half forward. Gallagher intercepts, looks to turn it back for the Crows, and an excellent kick into the forward line. There's a little bit of space for them. Johnson gathers it. The run from behind, Goodwin, Costa, charging through the centre, directly in towards full forward, pushing, shoving. Wakeland spoils, ground level, good tackling, holds it up. Here's Jamison. Handballs back inside excellently. Bickley, the skipper, stands from one step up high in the square. Young's there, takes it and runs away.
Matthew Young slips. You don't want to do that back there. McLaren. Good run by Costa to put McLaren off his kick, and it paid dividends. Edwards the mark.
Their short game today has got them into more trouble than what it's worth. They've just got to learn to come out of defence and play a better, direct brand of footy. Turn it over by foot, just short. It's costly turnovers.
Oh, yeah. Even though Costa hasn't had much leather today, that's just part of the team game that he's playing. He contributed to this shot at goal for the Crows with a great chase.
And boys, an interesting turn out here. We have now Orman and Allen playing in the back pocket on Everett and Smart on the ball.
Jarman for his fourth. Just offline and through for a minor score. So if they need one goal in this last quarter to make them safe, they still haven't got it yet. Tim Watson, who earlier on must have thought, well, this is okay. During the season, the Saints have beaten Essendon, the Dogs, the Eagles. They lost to the Kangaroos by just 2 points. They looked final certainties. Now no longer.
This is one of the reasons they've struggled of late. Robert Harvey's absence. He's back in there today. Breaking up possessions, that's 19 disposals. Burke and Peckett, they've done that often, just bring it across the ground, directly across. But they need to be aggressive with this final receive and take the game on down through the guts.
Centre corridor footy.
So Darryl Wakeland gives it to Ziller in that spot. Goes directly in, Hall's outnumbered. Spoiled away by Bassett. Stewie Lowe has to do it at ground level. Costa does very well for Shepherd, allowing Johnson to clean it up. Works with Smart. Under pressure, kick off the side of the boot. Crows leading in the race. Saints coming at it. Lenny Hayes does very well. Turns straight into Smart. He's going nowhere. The ball's going to be bounced.
Yeah, and Hayes is the player who probably sensed the urgency of the moment. And that's what they need. More leaders with the attack on the footy. At the moment, Adelaide is certainly leading in that department. Burke, Thompson, Francis, Harvey, Everett, Lowe, the leaders of this group have really got to stand up in the last 14 or 15 minutes of footy.
Whistle.
And what we've seen also, the mid-sized players of the Crows have been far more effective than the St Kilda boys.
And Aussie Jones had 10 possessions in the first quarter, and he's now had just 18. So he's gone right out of it.
Much the good work of Goodwin. He stabilised that position. Very disciplined player is Goodwin.
Oh, Ziller didn't even get a touch. Burke to Harvey. His kick towards the 50. It's there for the Saints. Taken away by Rashudo. He's a muscle man. Away to Bickley. Oh, great kick by Bickley to Hart. Beautiful use of space by Ben Hart as well, but he wasn't let down by his teammate. Perfect disposal. 26-point lead still to the Crows. It was 26 at three-quarter time. Just a point each in this last term so far.
Aaron Johnson starting to accumulate a lot of the footy. Started the first quarter basically on the interchange bench, but since then he's had 22 possessions.
Yep, terrific game. But ball spills out St Kilda's way. Peckett, Bickley's got him. The umpire comes in and will ball it up. Well, if the Crows just spoil and smother and tackle and knock the ball over the boundary line, use up time, they'll win. And as Curls reckons, maybe just one goal for the Crows will clinch it for them.
Smart. His kick smothered by Burke. Johnson, who has had a fair bit of the footy, to Bickley, to Tyson Edwards. He runs on in. That could be it. Early in the last quarter, the Crows get the goal, which really starts to give the death rattle to St Kilda. The Saints, who last year lost 7 of their last 8 games, to fall from second on the ladder to be out of the finals within 2 weeks. Similar scenes here now.
Once again, it was the Johnson handball who released his teammate. Edwards was a finish-up, but very good effort by the Adelaide Crows today.
Boy, coaching was easy about 2 months ago for Tim Watson. Well, Ormond Allen even looks tall from up there.
True, it just has a similar ring to last year, doesn't it? The way they've capitulated away in the second half of the season, the Saints.
Sure does. Burke. Crows have been good in defence. James, he'll handball. He is one of the best he'd give a bloke a rap. He's one of the best in the competition. He misses Rashudo there by about 5 metres. Kick smothered. Johnson. Hayes dives at it. And Kane Johnson started on the bench and he's up to 23 possessions, and would you believe he's taken 11 marks.
Couple of good defensive acts, one by Thompson to smother, and also I like the attack on the footy there by Hayes. His last 2 attacks on the ball have been full of merit.
Well, the Saints need 6 goals to 0 to win the game from here. Harvey from near the boundary line, up and down the mine shaft. It's not a mark, it hasn't gone 10. Oh, did he pay it?
He's paid it.
Oh, it went about 4 metres.
50 metres too against Ormond Allen, and rightfully so. St Kilda's first for the day. They've been fairly disciplined, the Adelaide Crows, but Stewie Lowe gets his opportunity.
Now, he has paid this mark, has he? Harvey is inside the 50 when he kicked that, and look at where Lowe takes the mark. That's gone about 4 metres.
So what was that 50 for? Questioning the umpire, was it?
Actually tapping the ball out of the hand.
Okay.
Goal to Lowe.
He's first.
But that is not a mark, Mick. Has he paid that mark?
Yeah, he certainly did. He paid the mark.
Oh.
Rashudo still discussing with the umpire as to why the 50 metres was given. We'll have a look at the Goodyear blimp replay. There's the kick inside the 50, straight in the air, gone about 4 to 5 metres. Paid the mark. Here's Ormond Allen throwing him ground.
There's Harvey in the foreground.
Basically thrown to ground either against Ormond Allen or Rashudo.
Well, the Crows can't argue about the 50-metre penalties. They've scored, 3 or 4 goals on them?
4 goals, Curls.
No, but the decision on the mark is nearly the worst decision this season.
Distance versus displacement.
Well, it went 50 metres, no worries. 25 up and 25 down.
Everett does take the ball out of the ruck, but the Crows just swamp him at ground level. They've taken it away again. They've been very good in there today. They've charged at it here now through Costa. McLaren from half back, under a little pressure, can't get to Harvey. Edwards has been very good. Quick hands with Jarman. Eventually back to Johnson. He's enjoying his 50th game. Edwards does the smothering. The Crows have got all the answers just at the moment.
And also, Terry, when you look at the big man strength in favour of St Kilda, it's a great effort by the Crows.
When you look at their playing list, there were 12 players unavailable for selection for the Adelaide Crows this week. They've got 6 players out there playing in their first year. Malcolm Blight is actually overseeing the transition from double premierships over the last 2 years into putting the club into a position to be able to win another one within the next 2 years. There's no doubt about that at all. And there perhaps is his replacement sitting there with him, Darryl Hart. James, forward handball, Rashudo, Johnson, Goodwin, numbers around the football. Handball execution, excellent, ends up with Binky on the outer side.
Here's the Roxinger, just forward of centre wing. Inside the 50, Burton actually underneath the ball, so it must have been pretty hard for him to be underneath. Shane Wakelin away. McLaren, Andrew Thompson. McLaren will get it back from Harvey. Good running, Joe McLaren. He's kicked a full forward. Well, actually, Bassett's been really good back in defence. Benke again. Oh, look at the space here for Andy McLeod. He can cut you up from there. Jarman. Well, if you've got McLeod and Jarman combining, you're in trouble.
Yeah, wonderful transition of play once again by the Adelaide Crows. Here's McLeod from the Goodyear blimp shot once again. Well-weighted kick to the advantage of his teammate in Darren Jarman. Probably a difficult shot from goal or for goal for any player, but we know Jarman's capabilities. It wouldn't surprise anybody here at Waverley Park today to see him actually kick this goal.
This for number 4. Nope. Away to the right and a behind. So he's kicked 3 goals, 2. He was scoreless last week, but prior to that he kicked 27 goals in 5 matches, including 9 straight against Melbourne.
So there's no doubting his abilities.
And I think the Crow boys have got long memories of that last fade out against Western Bulldogs. They're working very hard.
And Johnson's one of the hardest workers of the lot. Here's McLeod. Jarman just doing enough in the back of the contest. In control in the forward line, and here's Andy McLeod. Still upset with that miss at goal is Jarman. But as Drew Morford said, when you have McLeod and Jarman on fire in the forward line, goals are going to come.
Need a bit of luck.
And it's interesting to see McLeod now. He's basically not playing on Tony Francis. Tony Francis has been removed from the ground. Francis, I believe, done a fairly good job, except for McLeod got away for about 5-minute period in that third quarter.
McLeod gets his first. His first goal. It's a milestone coming up for him. This is game number 97. The Saints bench looks on, and there's not much to be enthused about from that angle.
Yeah, well, you mentioned last year St Kilda's second half fade out, Terry, so I suppose when you take a line through that and what's happening, of course, this year, instead of the blame going towards the coach, I think a fair amount of the responsibility has got to go upon the players.
Saints fans have given up on their heroes.
Come on, Trent, go hard.
Ormond Allen against Everett. He gets up pretty high too, number 21, and Adelaide win it. Burton out of the middle. Hudson gets back for the Saints. Peckett kicks out wide just past the Seagulls. Campbell. Oh, good contest, James. Play on. James kick back to half forward. Peckett. Well, the Crows played at Waverley earlier this season and beat Hawthorn in round 2 by 4 points. They look as though they might make it 2 out of 2. Another 50-metre penalty, this time going to Peckett, who gave one away when he was reported for a trip. Peckett on the breeze, just short of full forward, Everett underneath it. Lots of players here. It's too crowded for the forwards. Comes out to Lowe. Tunnels the ball. Bassett's there. Burton, absolute class. It'll be a great contest in that Norwich Union Rising Star Award between himself and Goods. Rasciuto, very Goods there. Play on, the whistle went, a free was paid, advantage to Jarman, wide, Johnson just can't reach it.
And there's another example of having 3 tall players in your forward 50. Tall players more or less make players come to them, and if the ball happens to go to ground, it's in congestion more often than not. St Kilda at some stage have got to look for a better, probably forward structure, knowing that their key players, if they don't mark the ball, it's been the Adelaide defence that have cleared it far too easily and far too often.
Gallagher with just a quick kick on out. Some space, McLaren cleaning up. Not sure where to go, and in fact concedes ground back to Young. St Kilda were in front for 1 minute late in the second quarter. Other than that, it has just been all the Crows. Zilla.
Phil, I've got to say, Terry, this is some of the worst disposal I've ever seen in an AFL game.
Let's see what Kimmy Costa can do here now. He drags it around. Jarman can't take it. Gallagher spinning out, caught up in the second tackle from Thompson, and that's dropping the ball.
Well, when a ball hits Darren Jarman on the head, something strange is happening.
Yeah, well, he actually slipped on that occasion, Drew, as the ball was coming forward, but it's just been, as Curl said, it's the foot disposal probably more from St Kilda's point of view. That was a good kick, but they're going too short and putting themselves under pressure, trying to find players who got their direct opponent sitting right behind them.
So Peckett received it from Lowe, then on out to Darryl Wakeland on the outer side.
Harvey off, boys.
Up in the forward line, Burke working it. As Robert Harvey takes a spell, the game well beyond them. Adelaide led at quarter time by 9 points. It was just 3 at half time, but then a 5-goal to 1 third quarter. Their lead was out to 26. Now it's 33. So with Harvey off, Jarman involved there, but Harvey off, the game seemingly right out of the Saints' control now.
Well, it was the disposal which made the ball hit Jarman on the head because he had to change direction and slipped. Burton, he can mark, he can tackle, he can smother, he can kick goals. Smart's been fantastic. Back to Rasciuto, who's right back in business. And Benke was clean bowled. Taken by Hayes. Oh, Burton intercepts. Away come the Crows. Bickley breaks from half-back. Up towards the centre, drawing a man. Kane Johnson can't stop getting the ball. Johnson's kick inside 50. Gallagher runs onto it. Could get a goal here, young David Gallagher. Around Aussie Jones easily. Poor old kick, he just put that up in the air and threw for a behind.
Gee, fellas, Timmy Watson at the completion, or now even, has got some terrible, terrible problems.
Well, there's Robbie Harvey. Today, 16 kicks, 6 handballs. So 22 disposals, and his season average is 28 and a half. So he's come back from the calf injury, not quite up to speed how we've known him in the last 2.5 seasons.
So here comes Zilla, drags it on into, and here's Barry Hall. And is this the start of the comeback that you tipped, Curls? Because didn't you tip the Saints at the start of the game, mate?
Thank you, Terry, for reminding me.
Just thought it was an opportune moment.
I just thought their big man strength would be the deciding issue, but that hasn't been the fact.
And I would agree with you that it should have been. They've been most disappointing in that area. Hall, he has 2 goals, one in the first and one in the second. It's a belated one, but he's got his third.
Wheels, in stating that, I've really felt sorry for the Tools in the forward part of the ground, merely because of the approach towards their goal.
Yep.
They've mucked around across half-back, they've tried to change direction, then they've gone wide. By that time, their forwards have given 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 leads. They've ran themselves out of position, and when they've had the opportune time to get free, they haven't been used. And I just think there've got to be more coordination between ball carriers and their key forwards.
Well, a long line of tall blokes down the years have been telling us how important they are in the overall scheme of the game. And here it's meant absolutely nothing. So this is one for the little blokes, Wheels.
And I think the guilty part, if you want to name, Matthew Young, Justin Peckett and Nathan Burke have just messed around across the half-back line too many times today, when the more direct route is what you should be taking.
Yep, valid point.
5.5 minutes to go. 28-point deficit for the Saints. I suppose if miracles happened, it could happen, but on play you wouldn't put any money on it.
No, there's no way the Crows would let this slip anywhere out of their grasp today. They've been extremely good at the entire components of the game, attacking the ball, aggressive at it, and in terms of completing the skills.
There's one for a big fella. Everett's got it right in front. On the breeze, he goes long and he's kicked it into the next suburb, but nowhere near goals. That was a shocker, Pete.
Yeah, disappointing return from Everett. Obviously trying to get a goal scored for St Kilda just by blazing away. But that's typified St Kilda's approach today. They haven't been methodical at all, especially their entries into their forward 50.
Burke will find it hard to get a ball out of here. The umpire balls it up. So time, 4 minutes 43 to go.
Mickey, you're right. They're burst runners going through the midfield area. They just haven't been there today.
Yeah, they just haven't been able to generate any run through. They haven't had any players running the lines, merely because they've been stagnant. They've tried to kick it short and play the possession game rather than trying to invent some run into their play. Aussie Jones was good early. McLaren's been in and out of it. Harvey's been the same. Burke's gone to midfield, tried to give a lift. Thompson's got a fair amount of the footy, but generally there's been no run in their legs.
Mind you, the Crows' defence has been very good too.
Oh, exactly. No doubt about that.
Nigel Smart has been terrific, and he's gone ahead of the play here. He's got his 2 goals, Curls. He's nominated, he wanted 3 for today, and he might be looking for it too in the last 4 minutes of play.
Nigel's put him in defence in the last quarter. Malcolm, sorry.
That doesn't stop him kicking goals, though.
Where's his head shiny? I can't see him.
Yeah, he's across half-back. He's by himself at this stage. Most St Kilda players have pushed back, try to flood the hole, but the Adelaide Crows will basically play a possession game, try to find someone free, otherwise kick long to their tallest target in their forward 50.
So David Gallagher into half forward, and there's Brian Benke again.
Yeah, and when St Kilda have had possession of the ball and gone forward, they've just left far too many Crows players unattended for the turnover ball coming back.
Benke, who made his debut against Hawthorn earlier in the year, it was in round 2. He's kicked 2 goals twice, including last week. This one right up to the square. There's Everett. Bounces out of his hands, the only man there. St Kilda have to work it at ground level. Peckett and Burke again combined. This time the kick wobbles on out of defence, though. Not an effective one. Jones met heavily by Smart. Gallagher works with Smart. Everett over the top. So Elliott in underneath there, the big man, and the bounce will be executed just 5 metres in from the boundary line. But St Kilda continue to trail, and the third quarter continues to be their bogey. During the last 4 games, they've kicked 2-2, 1-1 goals in the third quarters. And you're never going to win a game of football doing that.
Yeah, and if they blamed the wind today, and we're hoping for the wind to help them home in the last quarter, it just hasn't happened. It's been 2 goals each in the last.
It's just not there, is it? No, it's clearly been just the lack of direct play out of defence, channeling the ball into where St Kilda's strength is and inside their marking options in the forward line. Bickley just quickly on into the forward line, flying up over the top is Hart, spins around, loses his footing. The handball doesn't find a Crow. The Saints take it through Burke out towards the wing.
Andrew Thompson takes an excellent mark. Away to Elliott, dodging and weaving.
There's another example.
Yeah, and the kick to no one. It's gone wide, and it's 55 metres from goal, and so easy for Bassett to see it out.
Yeah, too many players are trying to do, or trying to complicate the issue. Elliott had the opportunity to, as soon as he received that handball, to go direct to their marking players. Decided to evade, give himself some space, but in doing that, he put himself under pressure to kick the ball.
Well, that's a free kick to Lowe. Hart over his shoulder for his leap. Got it pretty high, Ben Hart. Lowe couldn't make the distance from there. He centres the ball for Hall, who's gone right out of it. Bassett's been excellent. Campbell hooked it back too far for a behind. Brad Campbell playing just his 3rd game of the year, 21st of his career.
And it's not as if it's going to get any easier for St Kilda, Drew. After this week, they then take on the Western Bulldogs, Kangaroos, Carlton, and then finish up with round 22 against the West Coast Eagles at the Wacker. That's a fair month of football in anyone's language.
Yeah, and they're so unstable at the club. I mean, Ken Sheldon got the sack. He got him in the finals. Stan Alves got him in the finals. He got the sack. So, Timmy, you don't want to miss out too often. Back towards midfield. Courageous effort in there by Elliott. But he gave the hand pass straight to Smart. Here's his chance, girls.
3rd goal.
Oh, he might follow up and get it back. Good pass to Mcgregor. No, he's not running past, but he's worked beautifully. Just a minute to go. The Crows are going to beat the Saints for the 2nd time this year, but importantly, away from home at Waverley in Melbourne. Gallagher. Oh! We waited till the last minute, but there it is, and a goal. He's now got 9 candidates in the top 10 for the Cadbury's Mark of the Year.
Unbelievable ability he's got. Just his judgment while the ball's in flight is exceptional. Have a look at this for a Cadbury's Mark of the Day. Jumped early onto his teammate in Brian Benke, played on quickly, kicked the ball into the stands. Terrific play. And have a look at this for a shot from the Goodyear blimp above the surface of Waverley Park. Up you go, boy. Find your feet, play on and kick a great goal. Your 4th for the day in another terrific effort from a promising young player, Brett Burton.
Brett Burton.
He nearly knocked the blimp out of the air.
Unbelievable. If Cadbury's don't give him a whole box and dice of chocolates, I'll go eat. Continually does it. He's in the area again. Peckett has it to St Kilda. It's down to 30 seconds of the game left. Peckett's kick misses Thompson. 3 Saints go in there. Crows trying to work it on out. It's Edwards at the bottom of it, but Brett Burton That is just unbelievable how regularly he does it.
And how about taking the mark of the day and playing on to kick the goal?
Yep, he's done that on 2 occasions. And he actually had another chance to take a terrific mark over Nathan Burke on centre wing, but terrific victory.
There she blows. The Crows win and the Saints officially have the wobbles. And that's only Adelaide's 4th win in the last 3 months. Their previous victims have been well outside the 8. But today they've beaten the top 8 side in St Kilda. And where to now for the Saints?
Yeah, well, where to now, I suppose. The question's got to come back to the players concerned. They're the players that have got, they're the blokes that have got to get themselves out of the hole they've dug. Responsibility's got to lie within the playing ranks. I always say responsibility, you divide it, the ability to choose your response. You can control your own direction at times. That's where St Kilda are at the moment. To Adelaide's credit, they were the team of the moment. They attacked the footy from the start. But down to you, Curls.
Yeah, thanks very much, boys. Well, Mark, this captain of this team, will be a pretty happy man tonight.
Yeah, very happy. We're undermanned as far as big men go, and you look at St Kilda, and probably got 2 or 3 of the best big men in the game. So for us to be flexible enough to have a different game plan and still get away with the 4 points is a great effort.
Obviously, it was banked on a lot of run and movement, and particularly from your smaller players.
Yeah, it had to be. We had to play on as soon as we could and just get back and move it quickly. And our young fleet were great, and Burton in the air again was good. And we just moved around the forward line, and we just took a while to break through. The second half was much better.
If Burton hadn't got that high mark tied up yet, he should have that one there.
The way he's going, he might end up with all 6 in the mark of the year. He just has a happy knack of doing it, and he's just one of those guys you come to watch to play footy.
You blokes are still in there. You're in with a chance now.
Oh, yeah, well, it's a good win today, and we can build on this, and next week's another week, and we'll give it our best shot.
All the best.
Thanks, mate.
Well, that's right, Curls. They're now only 1 game behind St Kilda, and depending on other results, with a month to go, look out the Crows. You just never know.
Yeah, well, that's one thing you certainly don't know about this football game. But to Adelaide Crows' credit, they kicked 15 goals today, but more importantly, 11 of them were from marks in their forward 50.
And they have 3 games at Footy Park, Drew. Next week they got Brisbane, then Sydney, but Port Adelaide and the Kangaroos. Just the way they played today.
Yeah, I've seen them a lot recently, and that was their best effort. I know Curls criticised the disposal, but disposal on both sides for the last 2 weeks has been absolutely terrible. But I just thought their application, and obviously, as the skipper said, they went in with a game plan, and that was one of their best wins in the last couple of months, I reckon, for the Crows. And I did hear somebody on radio say that if results fell particular ways, the Crows could even finish second, would you believe?